Hey, it's MK, and I am back with another Baby Got Scraps layout for you guys today, and I'm actually doing a layout. Yay! So I have these leftover pieces that were from the pocket cards from yesterday's layout, so I thought that I would bring them in, considering these are the exact same photos, except that they are of my son catching his fish, so in a way, in a roundabout way. So I pulled out these dark blue pages or pieces so I can mat my photos across the 2-page layout. That is my little note that says 2-page and what year. I also have these elements here that I picked out for this particular layout. I like the ship's helm and then more wood grain and whatnot. And then this beautiful blue, I guess it's like a watercolor. I have some Graphic 45 Catch of the Day die cuts from that collection. Then some Scrapping Reflections mermaid tails, but I plan on doing just the teal mermaid tail, but it's not going to be a mermaid. At least I hope it doesn't look like one. I have all of these little anchors and ship's helms and metal pieces and whatnot, so I'm hoping to use up some of those. Also from Graphic 45 Catch of the Day, I have their stickers. I have their paper as well, but I tend to like the paper so much that I don't have hardly any scraps. So I used a scrap yesterday and I have a small scrap today, and that was it. Those are my scraps that I have from this collection. And then from the Vintage Coastal collection from Simple Stories, I have this sticker sheet with a couple usable items that aren't so beachy. And then I think there's one item on this sticker sheet that I was going to use as well. All right, so for a 2-page layout, you're allotted 2 12 by 12 pages instead of just one. But I wanted to use that matte paper. Well, I would have to mat that matte paper because it's so uber thin. It reminded me of this tissue paper. So I would have to mat it on a white cardstock. So then I remembered this tissue paper, because if I pull out 2 pieces of white cardstock and the mat, that's technically 4 12 by 12 pieces, and that's not what we're supposed to do. So I pulled out my 2 12 by 12 pieces, and then this tissue paper, thinking, it's not 12 by 12. Cheating? Maybe a little bit, yes. But I'm trying to get the effect that I'm looking for these photos. And I have no idea how I'm going to arrange the photos yet on the mat or anything. So I thought, while I'm contemplating how to do that, I am going to go ahead and put my tissue paper on. So I have this gel medium. And what I was going to do is put the gel medium as my glue, which is normally what I do for cheesecloth or tissue or anything really super thin. And I just go ahead and put that on. And then I was going to do clear gesso over the top of it. Well, my clear gesso, A, it was almost gone. And B, it was totally dried up. It was done. That tells you how often I use gesso, you guys. I don't use gesso at all. So I just went ahead and finished using the gel medium. And then I'm going to repeat it for the second page and make sure. Now the second page dang near dried on me because I put it on such a thin layer that it almost dried on me. So I had to lift up a few pieces here and there and reapply the glue underneath, or it just doesn't work. And it's not really glue, you guys. It just works as a wet texture and also helps the tissue paper blend into the paper like it was printed on as opposed to set on. So that's why I choose to apply it this way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up my paper. Like I said, I wasn't sure what direction I was going to go with this paper. And instead I decided to do paper strips. So I'm going to have a whole bunch of paper strips coming from the top of the layout and then going down at random lengths down the from the top down to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my wood grain into 2 pieces, this helms paper into 2 pieces, and then this gorgeous, I don't know, watercolory paper I'm going to cut at about 1.25 inches, I think, is where I decide to go, or it's 3/4. No, I think it's 1.25 inches is the pieces that I decided. So long story short, I have all these strips that I can incorporate along, my 2-page layout. So I'm going to go ahead and just put all of these strips down at random times. I know I want the helm and then a couple pieces of blue, and then I want the blue to look like it is in the background, and then there's larger banners per se hanging in front of them. But then I have a couple extra blue pieces, so I'm going to bring those into the front as well on the larger ship's wheel papers. So then what I'm going to do, instead of dovetail or fishtail or whatever you want to call the tail, I am going to tear the ends. And then I have this really cool new to me tool. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. It is a T-square from Close to My Heart, and I'll have my link down below if you guys are curious or would want to go check it out, whatever. I absolutely love it. It is a magnetic top, so you can use it as just a plain straight ruler, or you have the top to it to make it a T-square. Oh my gosh, you guys, ingenious. It is super ingenious. Plus, it is the style of my favoriteest ruler in the whole wide world. I have to pick up 2 of these because if I break them, you guys, I need this ruler in my life. I've never been able to find another ruler that compares to it. Plus, it has a small little stitching guide if you ever want to do hand stitching on your layout. It's got a super simple stitching guide that you can do multiple stitches with. You can't live without this ruler. I can't live without this ruler, and I'm just trying to spread the word for everybody else that can't live with this ruler. So anyways, going down my page, I went ahead and I left this entire process down, and I've never used a T-square before, to be honest, and so it took me a little bit to get into a groove using said T-square ruler, but I love the fact that I was able to align up all of my strips and get that teeny tiny little skinny print to show through and all that good stuff, because I put down my first one and all of them would have kind of started going at an angle after a while had I not had that T-square ruler. So I really love using it. Like I said, I've never owned one before. I see everybody else using them, but I just haven't found one that I love. And yay. So the link will be down below. All right, I'm going to go through all of my die cuts and all my stickers and, just the norm, and pick out all of the elements that I want to bring in on this layout. So the first thing that I noticed when I put up my title and the two extra scraps of paper and burlap and whatnot is that they don't go. They don't match with anything that I've had, like anything. But I'm still going to go with it. I'm still going to fiddle around with what I picked out instead of, dropping the whole idea. It's okay. This is my title. This is what I picked out for the title. It's okay if nothing else matches. I will make it work. Yep, we're gonna figure it out if I do or not. But I'm gonna glue things down. It is down. So my photos aren't glued down just yet because I wanted to make sure that the title was going to have a home. And then, of course, I have to pick up and peel off and do all this stuff because my photo mats aren't exactly 6 inches tall. I've got one that's uber short. And then, of course, I have to rip a strip because I want it to be below my photo. I wanted all my strips to be below my photo. And in fact, I rip that strip twice. I rip it once, but I move it twice. How's that sound? And then I want to make sure that I have my gap on, from my title because I had it going across both pages and whatnot. And then I definitely wanted to bring red into this layout. And one of the other things I wanted to do on this layout was put some sort of element in the upper right-hand corner. Well, when I started adding things there, and because of how detailed the Graphic 45 stuff is, it's always, all their images are full of stuff. There's no resting place in a Graphic 45 image. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not a good thing. And it wasn't a good thing for this time because it just blended too much over there on, the upper right. I just couldn't make it work. So I'm going to go ahead and just have a small little cluster, which ends up being a rather large cluster down here on the bottom right, and then my title cluster going across the entire top of the page. That's it. Those are the only 2 clusters that I'm going to end up doing, just because of the fact that I just felt like the background paper did all the rest of the work for me. I really didn't need to put anything else except that I wanted to use all this really cool stuff. So I covered up the mermaid tail, trying to make it look like a fishtail, in all honesty. Now, it does have a little bit of a bendy, flippy, floppy area to it that definitely says I'm a mermaid tail, but I really like how it sticks out, and I've got Catch of the Day stuck right next to it, which is really cool. And then of course it's on the right side of my son's fish, which was a pretty decent sized fish that he yanked up there. Of course it's Grandpa helping him pull the fish up, and Gabe is just holding onto the rod, making it impossible for Grandpa to reel it in. And because Grandma poked her head in the middle picture, Grandma's poking her head over the side of the boat to see, what his fish looks like, and prepping for it to come up. Then Gabe has to lean over and see what it looks like too. So it was a blast, you guys. This was so much fun. So there is my little cluster. I did have to bring in a teeny tiny little bit of red up at the top over there, because I just felt like there was all red on the right page and none on the left, at least not enough for me. And then to incorporate the upper portion being a little off, I just added burlap down at the bottom, and now look, it blended in perfectly. I was like, how did that happen? 1 minute it doesn't match at all. Add a little bit of burlap, and now it just looks like it's meant to be. That was just crazy, you guys. I could not believe the transformation that one little strip of burlap added to this whole layout to make it look cohesive now. I love it. So anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. I really, truly appreciate it. And I have been having a blast using up all of these scraps. Be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along with Baby Got Scraps. All of the links are down below. So go check them out. I'm loving it. I'm loving all of the creativeness that is coming out of using up the scraps. So, all right. Thank you so much, and I'll check y'all later. Bye.